Alright, this is a side view of my Lego brick, and it has 4 bumps along its length, but there's 2 rows of 4 bumps. The other row is behind, so you can't see them. Notice that each bump is centered. If I break my Lego brick into 4 parts, so half first, and then each half into half, so I have quarters. Each quarter of my Lego brick is 8 millimeters long, roughly, and the bump is centered in the middle of that space. So let's go over to Sketchup. I need to divide my brick in half from one end to the other. I'm going to grab my pencil tool. I'm going to move it down here until it automatically finds something called the midpoint. I'm going to click, and I'm going to drag to the other side and find the other midpoint. Yep, there it is, click. So this line is exactly across the middle. Now I can do the same this way too. Here's my midpoint, click, come over here to this side, click. So now I have divided my Lego brick into quarters, but I have to divide its length into 4 parts as well. If I use this pencil tool again, it's going to look for the midpoint now in this section right here, okay, because I've drawn it. It now sees this as an end point. So here's a midpoint along this side to a midpoint on this side. Midpoint on that side, click, over to midpoint on this side. So now what I've done is I've broken my Lego brick into quarters from one end to the other, 1, 2, 3, 4 parts, and I've broken it into halves from side to side. Now I need a bump right in the middle of every one of these squares. My bump is going to be a cylinder, right? So I'm going to click, I'm going to use my circle tool. It's going to look for the middle. It can't find the middle actually right here. There is no midpoint. So let's go back and let's use my pencil tool yet again. Mid, mid. So now I have a lot of lines on here. It's going to be hard to keep track of them. So actually, you know what? I'm not going to put that one on yet. Okay, midpoint, midpoint. Then I'm going to go midpoint, 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 midpoint. So what I've done is I've made a little cross here that shows me exactly where the middle of my quarter is, right? So in this square I have to find where the middle is. Now I know where it is because I just drew those lines. So now I'm going to draw a circle from the inside to the outside. Now while I'm doing this, look in the lower right hand corner. Do you see those numbers changing? 2.8, 2.7, 2.0, and so on. Those numbers actually represent the radius of the circle and not the diameter of the circle. Let's peek back here. My bumps are 4.8 millimeters across. That's the diameter, the distance across a circle. SketchUp, though, doesn't measure the diameter, it measures the radius. The radius is the distance from the middle to the edge. If it's 4.8 from one edge to the other, then half that distance, the radius, will be half of that number. Half of 4.8 is 2.4. Let's go back to SketchUp. Let's look at our circle again. Well, here, let's use this tool. From the edge, from the center to the edge. That's 2.0. I need it to be 2.4. So what happens if I type 2.4 in there? There's 2.4 millimeters right there. I'm going to take out this inner circle. Okay, so I have a 2.4 millimeter circle. I'm going to take out these lines too, because watch what happens. If I use the push-pull tool here, it's just going to move a quarter of it. But I want it to actually move the whole circle. So to do that, I have to erase those interior lines, and that will make SketchUp see it as a whole circle. There you go. Now I can use my push-pull tool to raise this bump. Oh dear, how tall is that bump supposed to be again? Well, let's go back and check. Over here on the right, it should be 1.8 millimeters tall. Well, let's see how tall it is. Let's go from the top edge to the bottom edge. It says 5.8, and I need 1.8, right? So I'm going to go back to the top here. Use my push-pull tool. I'm going to push this down, whoops, 1.67, there you go, 1.8. Now it's 1.8 millimeters tall. Once I have that bump done, what I want to do is I want to erase those lines on the side. In fact, notice this line here, I actually needed to erase that one before. So let's back up. Before I actually raise my bump, I want first to erase these lines because they're going to show up on the side of my bump. Okay. Now I'm going to use the push-pull tool to raise it up. And I'm going to use the measurement tool again on the side. Measurement tool again on the side here. Oops. Bottom. There you go. That's telling me that it's that tall. I'm going to turn my Lego brick up. I'm going to grab this and push it down. Whoops, can't quite see it. I'm going to move it out here. Push-pull tool. I'm going to grab it down. It has to be 1.8 millimeters tall. There you go. 1.8 millimeters tall. So now what I've done is I have my Lego brick and I have one bump that is 1.8 millimeters tall. Now I have to make this exact bump here, 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 and here. So go ahead and repeat that process those 8 times and that will complete your bumps on top of your